So I'm waiting for Facebook and YouTube to connect. And I think I'm connected on Instagram. Woohoo! Okay, we're going to get started in just a moment. Let me give people a couple of more minutes. Make sure I'm connected here. What is Sunday, y'all? Sunday seems to come by so fast. In fact, this whole year has just kind of really come fast. But I think we'll go ahead and get started. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me. I'm Deborah Porter. I'm the face of my brand, Oh Yeah, right there. And today is Sybarite Sunday Live. I come to you every reading erotic poetry, some erotic short stories, and a whole lot of shit talking about sex. So I'm glad you're here. Thank you for joining me. As I say, I never take it for granted. I know you could be a ton of other things, so I'm glad you're here. Thank you. But today we're going to talk about spanking. Spanking. And I know for a lot of women, mature women, seasoned women, particularly those over 50, sometimes over 60, it might be a new thing for you, because so often spanking was considered part of, well, I don't know, Black people seem to associate it with slavery. It's kind of like, girl, no, he ain't hitting me, and no, he ain't me, and that's like being whipped or something, like I'm a slave. But there are some sexual pleasures from spanking. Now, again, this may not be for everyone, obviously. But if you want to venture into some things that are exciting, do something new, I would encourage you to try spanking. Spanking is really not new. It's kind of considered part of the BDSM family. So people that are into fetishes and submission and dominance, maybe bondage, spanking is akin to that. It's part of that whole fetish thing. But it's not new. It's been around forever. And in fact, way back in the 70s, excuse me, they had these spanking clubs and groups that sprang up all over the country, which, okay, I didn't know nothing about that then, but, okay, so I'm gonna read you. So there apparently was a group called Shadow Lane, and a group called Crimson Moon, and another one was Paddle Clubs of New York. So spanking has been around forever. And now, even now, there are some resorts in the Poconos that do SM parties and things where spanking is part of kind of their repertoire. So spanking has been around forever. But what I think people fail to realize is that spanking releases endorphins. And it causes this natural high. Now, again, it may not be for everybody because there's pain associated with it. But because it's that pleasure-pain balance, spanking releases dopamine. And so it becomes a part of a really good sex life. If you're trying to experiment and do some other things. Now, when I say it was part of the BDSM, you know, BDSM stands for the bondage, dominance, or discipline, and the sadomasochism. So, but people also substitute things like submission as part of the acronym. But it really can enhance your sex life. So, but today we're going to read some poetry. We're going to read some poems about BDSM, and I have a really, really good short story about spanking. Yes. So, okay. So let's start from the beginning. Let's start from, let's say you're brand new, the Spanking 101. Where or how do we begin? First of all, you have to be with a partner that you trust. You have to be, and I say this all the time, you can't just jump up and do some of these adventurous things with a partner you don't trust. So let's start there. Someone that you are going to trust, that's going to take your feelings into consideration, will respect your safe word, because that's another thing. So you have to start with a partner that you really trust to participate with. The other thing is you have to communicate ahead of time. You know, a couple of weeks back, we talked about the importance of communication. And anything that you're going to try in the bedroom that is new, interesting, is kind of out there, it's a little fetish, you absolutely must communicate. And not just in the beginning, which you should. I mean, it's a conversation you and your lover should have before you bring out the bell to the paddle. But it has to continue. You have to continuously check in to make sure that your partner is still enjoying themselves, that they're not kind of going along with the program because you know, it's something you want them to do. So communication is key. Start with the person you trust. Definitely communicate and check in. It's got to be, look, babe, this is what we go try. You down for it? I mean, express communication, not hinting around, not kind of maybe kind of. You have to communicate. The other thing I just said this earlier, baby, choose a safe word. Before you get started, choose a safe word, because you don't want to be in the middle of something and then you are no longer enjoying it, or you want to stop, you want to change positions, you want to try something new, and you don't even know how to communicate that. And, oh no, don't stop, stop, don't do that. That is not good enough. You need a, it says, if I say this word, Cheetos, banana, whatever, that we are instantly going to stop. So choose a safe word, real important if you are trying to do something adventurous like spanking, right? So, okay, I'm gonna come back to that. I want to read some poems first. Woo! We have some good poetry. Let's see. The first one, well, there's a couple. I don't even know where to begin. There's a couple. This one is by Mr. Vasago. Say all the time, I am not a poet. This is not my stuff. I always give credit to the person. I write scripts, and I write short stories, erotic short stories. I don't write poetry, so poetry is somebody else's stuff. This is by Master Vasago, and it's called Spank. I like that. The first swat stings, and her ass slowly reddens. Her tears of pain go to the wayside. She counts. You know that deep down that this is what she needs, what she wants and desires. The second spank comes harder than the first. She's struggling to hold back her moans and squeals, yet squeezes the sheet of her little fists, moaning and trying not to show she loves this. In time, with the third spank, she pushes back to meet my hand. It's a wonder you see, and great to be her man. The one who awakens her deepest, darkest desires, delivers her fantasies without judgment. The fourth by now has her anticipating the worst. She wants and craves more, just as she did the first. Her ass raises and her pussy drips. She was now in your control because of those sweet lips. Once the spanking ends and you take her from behind, rub that sweet ass and remember to be kind. Kiss her neck and rub her swollen clit. Trust me, boys, she will remember this. That's Spank by Master Vasago, V-S-S-A-G-O. I love this, and we're going to get into this in a minute, but I love the fact that he comes back to some care at the end, you know? Love that, love it. Let me see. Also, This one is really short. This is by Vixen Laflamme. Laflamme. Vixen Laflamme wrote Spank Me. So, spank me, my love, for I've been quite bad. As I've waited for you, my toy I've had to have. Seems like forever since you were here. I needed relief, forgetting my fear. I knew you would be most displeased with me. I felt your hand when across your knee. So I confess to you before you arrive of my discretion. Ooh, my senses are now alive. Love it, Spank Me by Vixen Laflamme. I love that. Love it, love it, love it. Okay, so let's go back to our list. Let's go back to our list because we talked about being with someone you trust, having a safe word, expressing exactly what it is that you plan to do, and your consent. So the next thing would be number 4. You have to have some foreplay before spanking. You can't just come in and we're in the bed and you take your clothes off, I take mine off, and you just start spanking my ass. No, there's a progression. There's a lead up to spanking, and it could be why a lot of people or a lot of women maybe don't enjoy it as much is because the process is rushed, right? The process is rushed. And like anything else, sex included, you have to have some foreplay. And as I have said countless times over and over on our little Sybarite Sunday, for women, that foreplay begins in our brains. It starts in our heads, okay? So the more you can talk in my ear about what you plan to do, how you plan to do it, what you're thinking about doing to me, what you want me to do to you. The more you can get in our heads with that, the better the foreplay. So start with foreplay before you just start swinging, before you just start slapping her ass, because there is a progression. The other thing is, you kind of have to start slow. As I said, there's a progression to it. You start with, I believe, smaller, lighter slaps, like the poem that we just heard from Master Vasago. He talks about the third and the fourth and the fifth, the second and third and fourth slap. So each one can get progressively harder. But you can't start out there. It's like anything else. You have to start you have to start slow and you have to progress. Now, if you progress, and I want to bring out my little prop because I got this at, I went last year, a shout out to the Sex Down South Conference down in Atlanta, and they were handing these out. Now, for some of you guys, I know on Instagram this is going to be backwards, but it says, spank someone happy. And so they were handing these out because it goes like that. So you can progress to use paddles, belts, what else? A wooden spoon, obviously your hand. But these are the type of things, and this looks like just really a painter's stir stick. So take your little butt to Home Depot or the other place, Lowe's, and get you a painter's stick, and there you go. You got a paddle. But again, you got to start slow. You got to work up to that. The first initial slap should not be the hardest. Okay, shouldn't be. You shouldn't start out at that pain level. And so, where? That's the other question. Where do you spank? So. You have to start where there's the most flesh, the most fat, because those are usually the erogenous zones, which is why the ass is perfect for spanking, because that's where you get a lot of fat and it's an erogenous zone. Some people do the inner thighs or outer thighs, and I've even heard of women that enjoy being spanked on their boobs. But again, you got to go back to communication, baby, because you cannot just start out slapping me across my boobs and thinking that turns me on if it doesn't. Now, if that's for you, you like that kind of thing, then hey, have at it. But once again, communication is key. You've got to check in and figure out what's going to work. But I say start with the ass. That's the most erogenous zone. It's where the most fat is. It's where you're going to get the best response, I believe, especially if you're starting out the first time. So, okay, so let's read. Hang on a second. I want to read another one. I really want to make sure I don't run out of time for this short story because the short story is really, really good today. Okay, so this one is rather long, but we'll get through it. We'll get through it. Don't worry. So this is called Spank Me, I Love It. So, and I do believe this. You either enjoy it or you don't. I don't think there's any in between with spanking. Some enjoy it more than others, and they're able to not only get off with it, but it becomes, as I said, part of the whole BDSM and submission, and women really like to fantasize about that kind of thing. So I love this where she says, spank me because I love it. So if you love it, honey, it is the way to go. This is by Belinda Teaklark. She says, our sex life is wild and exciting, imaginative, with no boredom blues. The house is full of DVDs and sexy mags to inspire us whenever we choose. We have had endless adventures with others, but tonight we play alone at home. I close the door behind me, smiling, but he turns. I see deep anger in his eyes. I tremble, a shiver runs through me. I am naked, apart from thigh-high, shiny black vinyl boots with 5-inch heels, and I do feel sexy. A wry smile spreads over my lover's face. For a while, the room stays painfully silent. Candles flicker against the wall until he asks impatiently if I'm ready. Yes, I say, moving towards him as I run a finger down the length of his dick. He does not smile. In fact, he pushes it away and he tells me to listen carefully, very carefully, dragging his finger in my face. I am your master, and you are my slave, here to obey my every command. Your submission must be absolute. Embrace it fully tonight. Do not speak. Do not move a muscle. Close your eyes and do not open them until I tell you, you are under my control now. Trust me. Why are you such a naughty girl, Belinda? You have to be punished. A moment follows of silence and stillness, and all I can hear is my heart thumping loudly as excitement and fear ripples through me. As the minutes build up, I feel his breath on my face as I tremble, shaking from head to toe. Adrenaline mounts in anticipation of our long, drawn-out, sexy games, knowing of pain and my surrender and letting go again. Blindfold, darkness, cold, fear, totally exposed. He is playing with my psyche now. Squeezing sensitive, rock-hard nipples, rubbing Vaseline roughly around my asshole. I swallow as I spot a nearby display of toys, all lined up in a row. He hisses in my ear, there is no safe word tonight. Come, you little cum slut, he laughs. It's time to play the game tonight. I feel restless and I bow from his hands, a confusion of growing pleasure and pain. The first strokes are soft and I like them, and then they get harder and firmer again. And now I am lost in a world of my own until he breaks into this strange world and he tells me to open my legs wide, touching and rubbing my clit. It's nice. He laughs and stops, telling me that I am soaking wet and that I am really enjoying what he is doing. You are very wicked, a very wicked little girl, Belinda. But there is so much more to come. Whew. See, and okay, and I've you guys have heard me say this 1,000 times. If you're not reading erotica to your lover in a bathtub or over a glass of wine or just laying across the bed, you are missing out. You are truly missing out, because that's some hot shit right there. That was "Spank Me, I Love It" by Belinda Titlark. So let's finish our list. So we talked about um, easing into it and having some progression with the spanking, right? You can't just walk in and hit like this. You got to start soft, soft. And there should be some and time between. You cannot continually hit the same spot on her ass over and over at the same veracity without causing injury. Trust me. You have to alternate. So you might want to spank a little bit and then rub her ass, right? And then it should always be tied to. So in the spanking, you should be stroking her ass and rubbing her clit and finger fucking her and squeezing her nipples and doing all of that in between the spanking. Again, if you are hitting in the same spot with the same level over and over, you will cause injury. I'm trying to tell you. So her ass will redden. I don't care if she's black, white, green, whatever color or not. Her ass will redden, and which is normal. It's normal, but that's why you have to ease up, space the slaps, right? Tie it to the sexual pleasure. That means you're going to be rubbing her ass. You're going to be squeezing her nipples. You're going to lick her back. You're going to do all those things in between the slaps. Because I'm telling you, if there's bruising or you draw blood, you are doing too much. Okay, you do way too much. And the other thing, because oh yeah, right there is really about women over 50. If for women over 50, the older we get, the thinner our skin gets, right? The thinner our skin gets. And so you can really hurt someone. You can really hurt a woman, particularly a woman over 50, if you're hitting that same spot over and over without breaking it up, without pacing yourself, without intermingling the spanking with other erogenous activities. As I said, lick her back, lick her clit, rub her clit, do all of that in between, right? Okay, because again, if you drawing blood, boo, you're doing way too much. You out of control. So the other thing is, and you'll hear this a lot with the poetry that we've read, that it's also part of role play. So yes, it's a part of BDSM because there's that whole submission, domination, sadomasochist type of fetish, but it's also part of role play because most times it's the naughty little girl who deserves a spanking, right? And you can do that having her bend over a chair. You can do that having her bend over your lap. So make it a part of your role play. Create a character. I told you that's some of the best shit you can do. Create a character and have her live out that fantasy. Have her put on a little short skirt. Yes, a little short skirt and make her a girl, a naughty little slut, or whatever your fantasy is, so that the role play, the spanking is part of a role play that's part of the sexual experience, right? Okay, and lastly, number 10, there has to be aftercare. And by that, I mean, when it's done, whether you reach orgasm or go to have sex and have orgasm. And when I say that, I mean that plenty of women can have an orgasm from spanking, do it right. But what the end result is, then you have to have some aftercare. And I say get massage oil, go get lotion, massage her ass, kiss her ass, literally, because that's the time to kiss the area and massage the area. So it's aftercare. You might want to cuddle. Go get a feather and use that, across her ass, or as I said, kiss that area. There's nothing more sexier than after being spanked that a man would just kiss and massage that area. So you got to use aftercare. Don't just get up and leave her there. Please don't. Please don't. You got it's a, as I said, it's an art from beginning to end, starting with someone you trust and creating your safe word, and having open and honest communication about where you're at, because you obviously have been checking in with her along the way to make sure she's still enjoying it, right? So you want to conclude, after the climax, whatever it is, you want to conclude with some aftercare. So be polite, be a good lover, and make sure you do those things afterwards. Because spanking, as I said, can be a really big turn on, but only if you do it right, right? Right. I want to, and I think we have time. I want to end with, this is, I read from a lot of different books, but this is I know Instagram is going to be backwards, but it's The Erotic Edge, and it's 22 erotic stories for couples. It's by Lonnie Barback, and it's called The Erotic Edge. Really good stories in here. I'm going to go back and say, if you're not reading erotica to your partner, you are missing out. Missing out on some good foreplay and a way to really enhance the experience. So I want to read a story. It's called, this is The Language of Desire. And what I love about this is it's written from her point of view and about introducing spanking to their relationship. And so I was kind of torn between, like, should I read the male version or from her point of view? But I think I'm going to read from his point of view. So he is Kafri, and she is Patrice. So I'm going to read Kafri's point of view about their relationship. Again, these are short stories from The Erotic Edge by Lonnie Barback. He says, your absence brings back memories. I remember the night when you came to my place for dinner after we had been seeing each other for months. And I had wrestled all day with my past, with a way I had always compromised on what I wanted in a relationship. And I decided I would tell you my wishes. And either our relationship would end that night with the truth, or be the start of something much, much deeper. I told you I wanted something from you, so I handed you a long black velvet box. It contained what I wanted. You seemed shocked and excited. I knew you didn't know what to make of our relationship, since up till now, sex had not been a part. But I could tell you were drawn to me, that you liked my strength and power, as well as my beard and my shaven head. I commanded you. It wasn't what you expected. Nope. No pearl necklace, no diamond bracelet. Nope. There was a set of gold handcuffs and a leather collar, and I knew it was nothing that you ever had imagined. You asked me why I gave them to you, and I had to admit that I had kept them from us, and I had kept us from being intimate, that I wanted you, but had decided the next time I chose to be with someone, it would be totally consistent with the way I felt inside. So you asked again, what was it that I wanted from you? And I said, your surrender. And you asked me what I wanted you to do. And I told you, take off all your clothes. And I still remember the feel of the dark blue dress and how beautiful it fit your slender hips and ass. It was nice to see it come off and reveal your stocking-clad legs, garters, bra, and panties. I remember the sweat on my nose and forehead. And I told you to take everything off. And once you were naked, I asked you to put on the collar and handcuffs. I could barely control myself. My body was electrified as I looked at you standing there, your deep, rich skin, your hair pulled back, and the only thing on your body besides my gifts were the flickering light of the candles which sat on the table. You were exquisite. I lifted you in my arms and took you in the bathroom and filled the tub, and I ordered you into the tub, and I told you how beautiful you were, and you smiled. We were both silent as I washed your body with scented soap. The warm water, the wine we had for dinner relaxed you, and your body yielded to each of my probing caresses as I explored every recess over and over, as if I were learning to play a song by heart. I dried you off with a thick towel, and then I led you to the back bedroom where I placed you face down on the cushioned table. I fastened your ankles to the lower corners of the table and fastened your wrists to the top. You asked what was to do next, and I said I was going to give you pain and pleasure to push you beyond your sexual limits. So I rubbed massage oil along your back and your shoulders and down the length of your arms, massaging your hands, and all the time watching your body's response. Your head nodded with each of my caresses, and I massaged your feet when my hands moved up the back of your legs. You couldn't help but moan your approval. I kneaded your ass with great love and affection, and then swat. You screamed and struggled against restraint. Swat! You screamed for me to stop. Swat! I told you to give yourself. This would be a part of the giving. And just like that, you stopped struggling. As the heat grew with each off my hand on your ass. And then finally, I stopped. I held your feet, walked unsteadily behind me to a chair. And I bent you over that chair so that your ass was in the air. And I secured your ankles to the legs of the chair and stretched your arms until I could attach wrists as well. I stood behind you and looked at you while you looked up at me. I began to caress you, one hand squeezing breasts, gently rolling your nipples, while the other hand caressed ass until my fingers entered vulva in search of moisture. Your breathing increased when I found you a spring of life, and it flowed over my fingers. I told you to give it to me. Your breathing became moaning, and your moans became plead for me to fuck you. I stripped and walked slowly behind you, my erection pressed near your face. You told me I was beautiful. You told me you needed my dick inside you. I kneeled and opened your ass cheeks and sucked the fluid flow between your thighs. And a deep moan came from within, and I stood and watched you slump over the chair, nearly spent. And I entered your body over and over, filling you complete until your writhing quickened and your moans became incoherent chantings. And I joined the chant with my own cries of pleasure till you screamed my name. And that scream triggered our mutual release. So I put my arms around you, carried you to my bed, laid your head on my chest, and for the first time, sighed a relief. That was from the book Erotic Edge. It was the story, The Language of Desire. Again, this is a book of 22 erotic stories for couples by Lonnie Barback. Um, I say this all the time. Men tend to read a lot more poetry than they do erotic short stories. So whenever I find a man that does it and does it well, I try to always read from their stuff. But this is Lonnie Barback, The Erotic Edge. Go pick up a copy if you can, because it's really good stuff. So I hope you enjoyed spanking today. Go get you a stick. Go to Lowe's or Home Depot, get you a paint stirring stick and get busy. I guarantee you, if right, will be enjoyable. I forgot to mention that next week we will not be here. Again, the last Sunday of August, next week, we will not be here. We will return, I think it's the 3rd or 4th or 5th or something like that of September, the 6th of September. But anyway, we'll be back the first week of September. We won't be here next week. But I hope you got something out of today in regards to spanking, because I'm telling you, it can enhance what's happening in your bedroom. And because it releases the endorphins, because it has dopamine, it is a natural high, and a lot of women like it. Raise my hand. Raise my hand. You better check in. Don't come in the bedroom just swinging. All right? Can't come in just, having at it. Make sure you communicate. Key to any good sexual experience. You're new, communicate. Can be good, can really be good if it's done right. So thank you so much for joining me today. I really, really appreciate it. I know you could be anywhere doing anything, but as I've always said, since this pandemic, we've lost a way to connect, and as social beings, we need to connect. So these Sybarite Sundays is for us to get together, be a little naughty, be a little nasty, maintain our sexuality and eroticism. Because again, if you are not married, you don't have a live-in lover, you are shit out of luck right now in terms of having sex because of the pandemic. And I don't know how we're going to do all that in social distance at the same time. So again, thank you. I love you. I appreciate you for showing up. And again, we won't see you next week, but the following Sunday, first Sunday in September. And as always, I leave you with, if we have offended, then just say so and all is mended. For these sweet and naughty things make for the best wet dreams. So grab your lover, but stay in your place. Stay home and this your I'm about to come face. Thank you guys. I love you, and we'll see you in September.